This is Geek News Central. My name is Todd Cochran. The stories that lead to today's show are as follows. KFC, believe it or not, has a chicken sandwich stunt that they are sending a chicken sandwich into space. Why? I don't know. We'll talk about that. You know those little spinner things the kids are using? There was actually one here in the studio, and some adults. There's a spinner that explodes. So we'll talk about that during the show today. And, you know, I don't know how many of you have visited a bar lately, but how would you like it if it was a robot serving you? We're going to talk about how dead people are getting phone subsidies. We're going to talk about Windows 10 and something cool that they're doing to combat ransomware, plus all the news of the show today, or all the news of the day. I want to welcome you to episode 1210 of the Geek News Central podcast for Thursday, June 29th. The show is sponsored in part by GoDaddy.com, and listeners just like you, great deals from GoDaddy can be found at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. Of course, you can support this show today at geeknewscentral.com/insider, or just paypal.me/geek news. You can always pick up Ohana Gear at cafepress.com/Ohana store. Hey, I want to give a warm welcome to all the new listeners. I want to make sure that you take some time out of your busy schedule. I know that you're listening to the show today. If you're brand new, we want to thank you. But the most important thing is that you get over to geeknewscentral.com, get over to the website, and when you're over there, get subscribed to the show. And it's real easy to do. Right in the right-hand column of the website, there's a place for you to subscribe. You'll even find a link to the newsletter a little bit further down the show. The newsletter contains everything I'm going to talk about during the show today, with links to everything. Of course, we want you to visit the site daily and read all the great content that's being put together by the writing team over there at geeknewscentral.com. So make sure you get over there and visit and join the family. Hey, if you've got comments on today's show, geeknews@gmail.com is the email address. I see a theme going on here, yeah? Twitter, you can reach me at Geek News. Of course, we want you to join our Slack channel by sending an email and let me know that you want to be part of the Slack channel. I'll send you an invite to that. You can follow me on Google Plus or Facebook just by searching for my name. And you can watch this show on the Roku by loading the Tech Podcast channel. I'm in that stack there. Of course, the Apple TV by searching for Geek News Central. You can listen on your Amazon Echo by telling Alexa to play the latest edition of this show. You can listen on Stitcher, watch review at Blueberry.com, or tell your Google Home device to play the podcast Geek News Central. Partner shows include No Better Than Average with Jake and Jeff, The Gadget Professor, Mr. Don Bain, the Pro Gear site written by my GNC team, Podcast Legends hosted by yours truly, and the New Media Show, of course, with Mr. Rob Greenlee and I. So that's kind of the lineup of the network, but this all would not be possible without our sponsor, GoDaddy.com. Longest running continuous sponsor of a podcast. In just a few short days, it will officially be 12 years, 12 continuous years that they've been sponsoring the show. We want you to check out all the deals offered by GoDaddy, and basically to you, by going to geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. You're going to find all the deals on the webpage. All my non-expiring codes, whether it be a 30% off code, 99cent.com, whether it be $1 a month economy hosting, $1 a month managed WordPress hosting, whether it be 1 month free of GoDaddy Website Builder, all of that is available to you again at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. Check out the codes, promo codes, use them as needed. It's a good time for a summer project. Now, I know many of you are getting ready to go off, for at least those of you that are listening from the United States are getting ready to, some of you are going off on a little longer extended weekend, maybe a 4-day weekend, or maybe even a little vacation time. Because, it's kind of cool. If you're working a regular 9 to 5, Tuesday's a freebie. You take Monday off, and then, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, bam, you got, almost 8 days, 9, 10 days there. You can be out on vacation, only burn really 4 days of PTO. So I know many of you are out and you're going to be listening to this show on the road. or at an amusement park or wherever it may be. So that's cool. But when you get back from vacation, definitely think about my sponsor, GoDaddy. It's the summer months, the summer doldrums. So any support you can give the show is a great. I appreciate the support, essentially. So anyway, check it all out, geeknesscenter.com/GoDaddy. So anyway, shared with you last show kind of what was going on here. The chores are kind of getting done. Still having to press a little bit, but all I have to do is unplug the internet for a few hours. That seems to be a bit of a motivating factor. And, we're heading into a long weekend here. Soccer tournament's kicking off tomorrow. My son's playing a soccer tournament. So depending on how they do, 3 games between Friday afternoon and Saturday. And if they go further, we'll have a game on Sunday. So we'll know that, of course, Saturday afternoon. So that's in progress for the weekend, plus a whole bunch of stuff going on locally. And, of course, the 4th of July celebration, all that. So I hope all of you be safe out there and enjoy the long weekend. Of course, this week's been full of marketing meetings. I've been interviewing marketing companies. We're getting Blueberry Raw Voice, getting ready to hire a marketing firm, and going through the process of finding a company that we want to work with. So it's been a very, very busy week. No rest for the wicked. But and then, of course, on top of that, Podcast Award kicks off tomorrow, actually Saturday morning, or Saturday at 1 a.m. So we've been shaking down, making sure everything with the site is working. And I was going to bring it up here for you. I'm excited about introducing the new methods to the folks that are going to be coming in and nominating shows. But we're up and running. We've gotten a couple additional sponsors, which has helped. So anyway, we're ready to kick off nominations on July 1st, and that lasts an entire month. So we'll see how this goes. And, if you want to follow along, just go over to podcastawards.com and vote for your favorite shows starting on Saturday. You have a whole month to vote for all of the 20 different categories that are out there. Other than that, that's it. We're kicking things here and ready to get into the regular stack of content. And for those of you that are joining us live tonight, on whether it be on Facebook or on YouTube, thanks for joining. We definitely appreciate you being here and being part of the Ohana and everything that's going on. So I am having such trouble with YouTube. I really don't know why it's so bad. Why the stream, it is just not good. I'm getting a warning here. Stop streaming. It's not working. So it just sucks. I don't get it. I really don't. So maybe we're just going to have to be regulated to Facebook, but it just seems like I can't get a good stream out of YouTube recently. So I'm gonna have to investigate that a little deeper. Okay. Anyway, for those of you that are subscribed to the show, you guys don't care, right? So let me go ahead and get into the content here. I got a good stack of stuff for you tonight. No show on Monday with the holiday. It's just no need. Everyone's going to be off. There's not going to be much news. So, no show this coming Monday. So we all know that airlines will change the price of almost, on a minute-by-minute basis for the price of airline tickets. We've all gotten used to that. But soon, the way it's starting to work in grocery stores is that very soon, you walk in the grocery store in the morning, your bananas could cost one price. You come in the afternoon, and it's another. So what's going to happen is electronic price labels are going to be changed instantaneously. Essentially, phone's blowing up. People are following on Twitter. Thanks you for joining us on Twitter. But technology is enabling supermarkets and other retailers to change their prices throughout the day. And I don't know what individuals are going to think about this. But, you know, when you see a flight price change, that irritates you. But, you know, when you go in and to a grocery store and they are having a run on watermelons and they raise the price $2 or $3, or they're getting short on bananas and they raise the price dynamically, depending on the time of day you're shopping. So grocery stores could start eking out more profit on us, you know, on an hourly basis, depending on demand. So this is a troubling trend, but this is what is coming. And with digital displays coupled with analysis of vast amount of customer data, it's enabling retailers to change the cost of hundreds of thousands of items instantaneously and play with prices in real time to track specific types of customers at precise times during the day. So for the folks that are out there working a 9 to 5 and they have to get in the grocery store after 5 o'clock, they know you've got money from your job, and they're gonna raise the price. If you come in the morning during working hours and you're shopping, you may be considered maybe you're an old person, so maybe they'll lower the price. So it is curious. It really, really is. So with that, talk about food a little bit. A chicken sandwich from KFC was attached to a hot air balloon. The Kentucky Fried Chicken Zinger Sandwich journeyed skyward aboard a Worldview Enterprise Stratolite balloon at 9/11 Eastern Daylight Time from Arizona. And of course, I know those of you in Arizona have been living with this like 120-degree heat. My God, I feel sorry for you. But Worldview confirmed the launch was successful. And basically, this thing's going to be up there 3-4 days. And it's just a publicity stunt. Not only is it a publicity stunt for Worldview, it's one for KFC. And it's got me talking about it on the show today. But the obvious fake chicken sandwich that they attached to the balloon, and you just wonder, how much KFC paid to do this. And I guess it's an out of this world sandwich is the key. So I haven't ate at KFC in a long time. So if you're in KFC and you try this chicken zinger, let me know if it was good or what it tasted like. And did you see that I switched it off real quick here because it was popping up an ad on the page. You gotta love space.com for getting there, trying to drop an ad on the site right at the last minute. Over on The Verge, a Bluetooth-enabled fidget spinner exploded while charging. Now, the question is, why do you have to? Why do you have a spinner that's charging? This thing spins on its own. And but anyway, there's pictures of this fidget spinner that blew up while it was being charged. And it's not the first one. A few of these have happened. So, why anyone's got to, maybe it gives off a light or something like that. I don't know. But, if you're going to get a fidget spinner for your kid, don't buy one that requires a charger. They should have it so you can spin those things and charge them yourself. But anyway, link will be up in the show notes for you to take a peek at. Vegas. In Vegas, there's a new bar that's about ready to open. It's called the Tipsy Robot Bar. And as you're listening to this on Friday, it is open. So if you're in Vegas, you can go over there and get served a cocktail by a robot. There will be a human attendant at the end of the bar, I guess, to make sure you pay. But this robot is actually going to, serve you a drink, mix it up. If I go to a bar, a part of it is the atmosphere of being able to talk to someone and kicking back. And, many of us have a watering hole that we like to go to that serves just that purpose. Maybe we know the person that works there, know the bartender. Sometimes the bartenders are really cute. Sometimes, it all depends, right? There's a bar I like to go to in Vegas. There's two really cool, funny dudes that work there. They're, very entertaining. And, they always know you by name. You go in, I don't want to go into a bar and sit down and have a machine, make me a drink. First of all, the robots will never overpour. That'll never happen. And you can have a conversation with a robot. You just sit there and look at the wall. I think this is the stupidest idea ever. But if you happen to this bar and you have a conversation with a robot, please let me know how that conversation went. The FCC's apparently giving away taxpayer money. The FCC is giving over $1 million in phone subsidies to dead people. A report from the GAO watchdog finds extensive fraud in the FCC's Lifeline program for the poor. So basically, the subsidy that that is being given to folks, a lot of times, and it is now largely be determined. A lot of those people that get that subsidy are dead. So I guess it's just like voters that are dead and still voting. So it's only $1 million. It's what's $1 million between friends and the U.S. government, right? That's not even a rounding error in the budget. But anyway, a lot of people don't like these particular subsidies. Some people rely on them, but yep, $1 million to dead people. Who's cashing that check? That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know. It'd be nice to find out who's cashing that check and actually go in and recover the money. But it costs more to recover it than it is probably to actually, to actually track it down. All right, Windows 10, there's a big update coming out. And Windows 10 will try to combat ransomware by locking up your data. So what it's going to do, and this is interesting, and this is a version, the latest Windows 10 build 16.232, again, contains a few new security features. The long-standing approach that operating systems have used to protect files is really a mix of file ownership and permission. So, you really can't get stuff between users, but once you're in your account, most programs, if they're running within the window, will basically can change permissions on the dime. So Microsoft's attempt to combat this is called controlled folder access. It's part of Windows Defender. With controlled folder access, certain directories can be designated as being protected, with certain locations such as documents being compulsory protected. Protected folders can only be accessed by apps on a whitelist. This is brilliant. In theory, any attempt to access a protected folder will be blocked by Defender. To reduce the maintenance overhead, certain applications will be whitelisted automatically. Microsoft doesn't exactly specify which applications, but it is being thought that apps from the store would automatically be allowed access. So in principle, this should impede the ability of ransomware to encrypt user data. In practice, we'll have to see just how robust controlled folder access really is. But I had a friend who his company in New York got took down, the whole building, and they were restoring from backups and backup servers. The whole network got slaughtered, and he basically they were 2 days twiddling their thumbs with nothing to do while they restored computers. And imagine having an entire enterprise taken down. So they did lose some data, but he said it was all hands on deck. So something like this may have prevented that whole network from being taken out. Over in Extreme Tech, they're saying there's a new government leak that's revealing, basically it's a tool that can track computers via Wi-Fi. And basically Wi-Fi doesn't even have to be turned on. It's just a hack that basically enables the Wi-Fi receiver and transmitter, and it basically phones home to mama, tracks where it's at, looks at different hotspots, connects, gets an idea where it's going, and then when it does connect the internet, It basically sends an encrypted packet back to somebody. And so this is something that's in the wild that's being talked about now. So the hacks keep on coming. And this one looks to be, according to Extreme Tech, supposed to be coming from a government group. The FCC, we've been watching the FCC since the change of command in D.C. And with the flurry of changes happening, it may be hard to believe that the commission has been short-staffed the entire time. But since the beginning of the new administration, the FCC has been missing two key positions, associated staffers that support them. The president's about to fill in the gaps, and it means the FCC will be able to start accomplishing a lot more. The FCC is led by 5 commissioners, one who serves as chairman, but there's only been 3 in place since late January. And again, 2 weeks ago, the president nominated Jessica Rosenworcel, a former commissioner, forced to depart in January when her term ran up. And just last night, he nominated Brendan Carr, who is currently the FCC's general counsel and previously served as a legal advisor to Ajit Pai before he was named commission chairman. Both nominees still have to be appointed by the Senate, which obviously has some high-profile issues it may not want to attend to first, but when the attention does come around to the nominees, it's likely that both will see confirmation at the same time. So we're still putting people in place over there. We'll see what happens when they're approved. Google just had a huge ruling against it, and it could affect free speech around the world. The Supreme Court of Canada issued an order to Google Wednesday to stop showing search results for a company accused of fraud. Now, not just in Canada, but throughout the world. That includes everybody in the world. The court's ruling that Google search subsidiary, or actually Alphabet Incorporated Google search subsidiary, de-index a company, but this could invite other courts in other countries that really doesn't have a due process, where a dictator maybe tell the court what to issue their own global takedown demands for other sites. So we'll see where this goes. This story started with a lawsuit filed by Barnaby, British Columbia-based industrial network vendor Equistack, alleging that a competitor, Data Link Technologies Gateway, had started selling its technology as its own. A lower court told Data Link to knock it off, but the firm then fled the province to an unknown location while continuing to hawk its wares online. An appeals court granted the request, and Canadian Supreme Court upheld that while rejecting free speech arguments in a 7-2 ruling that Google needed to basically delist them. And they're saying this is not an order to remove speech that is on the face engages freedom of expression and values, in order to de-index websites that are in violation of several court orders. We have not to date accepted that freedom of expression requires the facilitation of unlawful sale of goods. So this is interesting. And Google said they're carefully reviewing the court's findings and evaluating their next steps. So the court's ruling is a mess all around. It won't actually solve the problem of finding undesirable content online. For the same reason that the European Union's right to be forgotten doctrine can't, like the U.S. right to be forgotten, Canada's ruling doesn't encompass every search engine, says nothing about social media with its proven ability to send massive amounts of people to a site. So we'll see where this leads, but at least Google's been told to de-index. I accidentally de-indexed one of my sites. Let me actually see if it's back online. Let me search. So I was working on a site, and I accidentally flipped the no index switch, and no, it's not back. It's going to take a couple of days, but I basically loaded the, was doing some double checking, and I loaded the search results, and I went into a mild panic because it was gone, and it took me about 10 minutes to figure out what I did. There is nothing worse in the world. That's no worse feeling that you can get than, accidentally basically telling Google, don't index this page. And when it's the whole site, you're like, oh no. And, but that's what I did. In a tragic stunt, a Minnesota woman has been charged over the fatal shooting of her boyfriend and what authorities say was a social media stunt go wrong. Melissa Perez, 19, was booked into custody into the county jail after shooting her boyfriend, Pedro Ruiz, as he held a book to his chest, believing it would stop the bullet. He convinced her, listen to this, fellas and ladies, to take a 50 cal, yes, not 22 cal, a 50 cal handgun. That's a big bullet. A 50 cal handgun. Stepped 3 feet away. He held a book in front of him and asked her to fire. Well, he's dead. Why did these two? This is beyond me. All right, so you're going to do a stunt for YouTube, right? You're going to do a video that's going to go viral. It's going to get millions and millions and millions of hits, right? So what you do is you buy 2 books, right? 2 books. You take the first one out and you test fire and see what happens. Had they done that, this guy would still be alive and this young lady would not be in jail. She's pregnant. She had begged him not to do this. She'd actually tweeted earlier in the day saying, "Me and Pedro are probably going to shoot one of the most dangerous videos ever. His idea, not mine." And the couple had started a YouTube channel in March aiming to show the real life of a young couple who happened to be teen parents. And they had a crowd. They had neighbors watching, people standing around watching the stunt. Was there not an adult that said, hey here. She had a 50 cal Desert Eagle. Packs a little bit of a punch. She's facing charges of second-degree manslaughter. I think in the end, they're probably going to cut her loose. I can't imagine. Well, we'll see. You know, he asked her to do this. So I don't know. Like, is I guess stupidity can still be. But how can any, a handgun? They do these tests where police officers wear bulletproof vests, and they've shown, what happens. And many of these guys get knocked flat, and they have a big black and blue mark, and and this is done under a controlled environment. To do this for try to get some views. I sent this link to both of my kids, or the 2 boys, and I'm just like, want to hear your comments on this. And they both were like, what were they thinking? So I know there's some of you in this audience that are against handguns. That's fine. Everyone has their own stance on that. When I was growing up, went to hunter safety, and the first demo when we had a live fire was the instructor took us out to the range where we were at, and they had a watermelon set up, and from about 20 feet away he shot the watermelon. I don't remember if he shot it with a slug or if he shot it with bird shot. All I know is this watermelon just literally exploded, and it made an impression on me such that I know even today that when you pull the trigger on a firearm, it's packing a lot of punch. The bullet velocity is incredible, and that bullet is not stopping until it has expended its entire energy. And a book, that ain't gonna cut it. And anyway, long story short, this guy's dead. The young lady's in jail. heartbroken and knowing she killed her it was a boyfriend, or yeah, it was her boyfriend. So stupid things people are doing to try to get attention. It's just taking it way, way, way too far. It's just absolutely tragic here. Okay, moving on. Mac operating system High Sierra preview. This is interesting. With the exception of very attractive new wallpaper, you'd be hard-pressed to tell the difference between Mac OS Sierra and the new Mac OS High Sierra at first glance. That's because this new software, available now as a public beta, primarily focuses on the underhood improvements in an effort to future-proof Apple's platform. There's a new file system that will spruce up performance, support more efficient, higher quality 4K streaming, and Metal 2 for a serious graphics boost once there are apps to support it. And yes, MacBooks will finally be able to join the VR revolution and plug into external graphic amplifiers. So if any of you are using this boosted version of Mac OS Sierra, I had not heard about it till today. Let me know what you think. There's been some improvements to a number of apps. This article goes into that detail. So those of you that are Mac aficionados and you have a Mac, you'll definitely want to check this article out from laptopmag.com, and I'll have the link up in the show notes for you. Okay. Twitter is toying with a fake news reporting feature. It's still in very early stages, according to the Washington Post, but they're working on a new tool to fight the spread of inaccurate, harmful, misleading articles by being able to allow people to police and mark stuff as fake. So we'll see if that comes out. Facebook has successfully landed its Aquila drone for the first time. You remember the first time they did, they crashed it. So they've got a pretty cool little video, and I wonder if I can play this. This is a Facebook video. Well, we'll find out if Facebook shuts me down for playing the video. For those of you that are watching, let me load this up here. And waiting for it to go. And let me bring this up. And we'll see what happens here. See if I can go full screen. Can I? Yes, I can. So it shows the, this thing's huge. They don't have no antennas or nothing, or no antennas, no landing gear or anything. It's just they're landed on on a gravel, on some gravel. And, the propellers aren't completely straight. You can see them straightening out as it lands. But they had about an hour and 40-minute flight, and they landed it in Yuma. I just can't imagine not occurring damage when this thing lands. But anyway, for a successful landing, that they didn't break something. So they've learned a little bit here. We'll see how long before they get it back up in the air. Shadow brokers, we haven't talked about them in a while, but they've been hiking prices for stolen NSA exploits, even though there's no proof that they're getting any money out of it. They've also started a mysterious VIP service where they offer up all kinds of cool stuff for $130,000. But they're using Zcash and Monero, and ZEC money as well. So basically, they're claiming that these global cyber attacks is because of code that has been sold from this cache of stolen software. So, but anyway, Shadow Brokers is looking for more money. And a more positive note, students are mining for simulated Martian ice. Colorado School of Mine students have worked for the concept of the Mars Challenge, Mars Ice Challenge program, and so they've been building up drilling models and coming up with ways to figure out how we're going to drill for ice and drill for water once we do go to Mars. And they've come up with some cool concepts, but nice to see engineering students or mining students actually do this kind of stuff and putting their engineering skills to test. So pretty cool stuff. I'll have the link up in the show notes. That's an article from space.com. There's an interesting article on Tech Dirt, and I was trying to read through and getting more information, but their title of this is a little, it was a little eye-opening. It says, Comcast Charter may soon get even larger with joint acquisition of Sprint. So it appears that U.S. wireless carrier Sprint is in talks with Charter Communications and Comcast about a partnership to boost the two U.S. cable companies' wireless offerings, according to sources familiar with the matter. Sprint, controlled by Japan SoftBank Group Corp., has entered into a 2-month period of exclusive negotiations with Charter and Comcast that has put its merger talks with U.S. wireless peer T-Mobile on hold to the end of July. So this could be an outright acquisition by Sprint by the two cable giants. And what's really sparking this is that with the FTC and the FCC, and they're basically, it's kind of a free-for-all right now. Everyone's in this buying frenzy, and there's lots of M&As going through that they feel there's a favorable administration to allow those deals to proceed without too much trouble. So we'll see what happens here. Sprint is obviously at this point kind of on the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to telecom communication companies on the specifically on the mobile side. So we'll see where this leads. But again, Comcast and Charter may together buy it up. Are you finding you're spending too much time on your smartphone? Well, there's 7 apps to cut your usage back. One is called Quality Time. Another is App Usage. It actually breaks down how much time you've been on an app. And actually, there's another app that's even better. It's called Time Used. It actually tracks the amount of time that you've actually used your phone and been messing with it. Another thing is called Time Lock that actually will lock the phone, lock it down for a period of time, force you to stop using the phone for a set period of time. So a number of apps like that. So I'll have a link up in the show notes. Some of us need that. This is some cool stuff on here from my kid. So I was reading through these. I was like, oh, I put that on my son's phone. And then he uses the phone too long. It locks him out. He can't use the phone for games. He can still make emergency calls and stuff like that, but no actual playing of apps. I thought, this is slick. And takes Dad's password to unlock it. Yeah, buddy. Sign me up. Yeah, so anyway, definitely check that out. I'm sure by the time the weekend's over, he's not going to be happy with me having found this particular article. Over in Dubai is going to police the streets with autonomous patrol cars. Earlier this summer, Dubai announced it would begin flying passenger taxi drones this summer. Now it's planning autonomous cars on the road as well by the end of the year. Dubai police plan on deploying a fleet of self-driving cars that will scan people, identify criminals and undesirables. The driverless cars will also have drones that can be launched from them. So a Singapore company will be building and manufacturing the security robots for the city. And they're equipped with a laser scanner, thermal scanner, so all kinds of cool stuff. I'm not surprised really anymore with stuff that people, stuff that goes on in other countries. Dubai is pretty rich, so they can go through and do this kind of stuff and afford to do it. And it's not such a big country that implementation isn't that hard. But anyway, cool stuff. I was going to make a comment today here. Definitely want to thank Kirk, our executive producer here, for putting about 90% of the show together today. Him and I synced up quite a little bit. Kirk will be coming with me out to CES in January. He's going to be my camera, well, not the cameraman, but he's going to be taking care of social media, maybe some Facebook Live, that kind of stuff. He's going to handle kind of the social aspects of the show for me. And then we're still got to reach out to the cameraman we had last year, see if he wants to come out. As a matter of fact, Sam, I know you're listening. Why don't you run that up the flagpole there at the house? But we're preparing. We've actually reached out to CEA already and talking about our booth over in in the Sands or broadcast studio over in the Sands. We're excited about being able to do a little fuller program this year, but exclusively coming out of the Sands. So anyway, I'll have more discussion about that as time goes on. But I did want to mention, and I want to thank Kirk for his hard work in getting the show together today. Project Fi is going to soon support new mid-tier phones. So, one of the big frustrations with Project Fi is its limited device selection, which requires that you purchase or bring your own Pixel XL, Pixel Nexus 6P, Nexus 5X, or Nexus 6 to the service. And even though it kind of works in unlocked phones, Project Fi has never explicitly supported any other phones. So Project Fi has been listening, and they say they're going to have some lower price compatible devices that are going to come out. And so anyway, more on that as time goes on. But so we'll see who they partner up with and what comes forth from that announcement. The Queen of England today was on Facebook Live for the first time. I didn't watch the video, but we got a news report on it from the folks at CNET. Today at Buckingham Palace, Queen Elizabeth II of England is hosting the 2017 Queen's Young Leaders Award Ceremony, which was broadcast on Facebook Live. The annual ceremony honors people aged 18 to 29 across the United Kingdom exhibit extraordinary drive and passion to better their communities. The Queen was joined by Prince Harry, who also gave a short speech. So very cool stuff. Very cool. The Queen of England on Facebook Live. This is a first. So those of you that listened, you can, and from the UK, can go back and watch the ceremony with the Queen live. Tom Wheeler made a speech today defending Title II rules and accuses the new FCC chair of helping monopolists. Chairman Tom Wheeler spoke out against the FCC's proposed repeal of net neutrality rules this week, saying that the repeal will help monopoly broadband providers abuse their dominant position. I agree with this. There's a monopoly provider for 3/4 of the homes in America and no choice. Many of us have no choice, Wheeler said in a forum in Arlington, Virginia, hosted by Representative Don Beyer. When you have only one provider, who makes the rules? He says the provider makes the rules. So talking about the Title II smokescreen, ISP inference, and we the people have to let our congressional representatives know what we think about the dismantling of net neutrality. Instagram now uses artificial intelligence to block offensive comments. I'm not on Instagram enough to see offensive comments. And if I did see some offensive comments, I would probably block the person. But they're introducing an enhanced comment filter, mean to wipe out nasty remarks. The app began offering a comment filter last September, but it was very simple. Instagram would only remove comments that contain words and phrases that it specifically identified as offensive. And you could all set up your own phrases now, but it's gotten smarter. So those of you who are on Instagram a lot, let me know how that worked out. After a month of trying, NASA launched one of its small-sounding rockets from the coast of Virginia, creating a delightful mix of colorful clouds in the upper atmosphere. The vibrant show was no fluke. We knew about this. The rocket, a Terrier-improved Malamute, was tasked with releasing canisters with multicolored chemical vapors into the sky to create vivid clouds that could be seen from the ground. Yes, chemtrails. So anyway, link will be up on this in the show notes, but I guess they got lots of reports of it. People saw weird stuff in the sky. So most people are looking at their phones. They're not looking up. I doubt anybody sees anything in the sky anymore. Google Photos 3.0 is out with automatic sharing features. If you remember back at Google I/O, new sharing features were announced for Google Photos. Most of the features revolve making sharing easier or more likely to happen with features like shared libraries and suggested sharing. Google announced on its blog that those features are finally ready and shipping within Google Photos 3.0. New Yorkers, one thing about New Yorkers, you don't have to worry. If they're not happy, they're going to tell you their opinion in a big way. And apparently, in the 279 underground subway stations they installed Wi-Fi, which is allowing commuters that are being stuck on trains or having delays. They've been able to how should we say it? Full throttle blast the administration. So for the past few months, Cuomo has been unable to tweet anything from his official account without his mentions flooding with basically hate replies, where New Yorkers are demanding he fix the subway. A tweet congratulating the promotion of his new secretary elicited 20 replies, every single one of them about the subway. So finally, he's figured out they got a problem. And he's declared a state of emergency to speed up repairs and procurement. And he's offered up $1 billion more of funding to fix the subway. So it'll just be a drop in the bucket. The subways in New York are very, very, very old, and they need a lot of work, a lot of infrastructure in the United States. So New Yorkers keep on tweeting. Uber, amongst all of its trouble, has just completed its 5 billionth trip, proving most people are okay with all the scandals. So, 5 billion trips. This comes a little bit less than a year after Uber said it completed 2 billion trips. But there's a pretty interesting map that basically shows the worldwide coverage of where their service is, and they're pretty much worldwide. It's pretty amazing how their expansions went. Alpine aftermarket wireless Apple CarPlay receiver is now for sale. So if you are in for an aftermarket radio, the ILX-107 is now available from authorized retailers in the United States. A 7-inch VGA touchscreen also controls external accessories through a separate controller. Depending on your car, you'll be able to view customized vehicle information like the gauge screen or a parking assistant. The device runs CarPlay wirelessly through Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. I like the play as a switch between CarPlay and Android Play. I think that's the best. All right, creators of Apple's smartphone keyboard reveals early iPhone prototypes. So this is the first time you guys can get a look at like the iPhone beta. And this is before iPhone 1. And it's remarkable what these, how the test phones looked as compared to, what we got for the first phone. It's really eye-opening. But anyway, this individual was leaving the company, and he had to turn the phones in, and he took a couple pictures of them before he left and showed off the prototypes. So link will be up in the show notes for those of you looking for some history information. AMC is one of the television stations or television networks I really, really like. But AMC is introducing something called Premiere. It's going to let you stream The Walking Dead ad-free, but you still need a cable subscription, and it costs an extra $5 a month. So that just makes, it's like, okay, you got to have cable, you got to pay $5 a month to be able to stream it without advertising. Come on. So, I like Better Call Saul. I do. That is a great series. But the AMC Premiere soft launches on Xfinity for Xfinity TV customers. And, but anyway, this AMC, I don't know, can you get AMC standalone without having a cable service? There needs to be a list somewhere that lists all the channels you can get, what they cost, so cable cutters can really, I'm sure there's a great resource. Anybody found anything? I'd love to hear from you if you have. Hey, Airbnb helps you find a place to stay near remote national parks. Airbnb's partnered again with the National Parks Foundation to help guests find accommodation at 10 separate parks. So that's cool. And Airbnb is also donating $50,000 to a nonprofit charity called the aim is for country parks more accessible. The Grand Canyon to the what's the name of the? Anyway, they're making a donation. I don't know if they're making the donation. Oh, they're making a donation to the National Parks Foundation. So, got a foundation, got an Airbnb deal. Bribe? Or, we're just going to give you some money because you did this deal with us? Makes you wonder, doesn't it? All right, Amazon's Prime Day 2017 discounts confirmed. There's a video about it. Prime Day is on July 11th. I've never had a Prime Day where I bought hardly anything, and maybe some memory sticks or something. But get your credit cards ready. July 11th is Amazon Prime Day 2017. This is cool. Sony is planning to revise its vinyl record production. Sony was late to the vinyl resurgence, and they were late with and they introduced a new turntable of its own, and it's going to come out later this year, but they are going to get back into the effort of pressing records. Nikkei reports that thanks to demand, the perpetually tardy tech company will first start putting Japanese music and some modern hits to wax, with production starting in March. In fact, the company's already outfitted a recording studio with a press so it can produce a master in situ. So I don't know if they're going to do anything with their massive music collection from the United States or not. But, they haven't pressed a record since 1989 or press vinyl. So those of you that are hardcore vinyl guys and ladies, which I know some of you are, and I'm a big vinyl fan too, you'll be able to get vinyl from Sony here shortly. A new proposed bill would make doxing a federal crime. While many internet harassment tactics such as doxing and swatting are considered illegal under state criminal laws, the coverage is often indirect. So there's a new Online Safety Modernization Act of 2007, and it basically is a bill that tries to, prevent a number of things. Sextortion, what they call. Instead of extortion, sextortion, doxing, swatting, revenge porn, all that will be federally prosecutable. So if someone does something cross lines, you can still get the hammer thrown at you. So we'll see where this leads if it makes it through the process. Google Play sale offers deep discounts on apps, movies, and more. The summer sale is on us. A movie rental for $1 might be the only way that I can justify watching some movies that are out. But luckily, Google Play will let me do that just, right now. You can rent any one movie from Google's catalog for 99 cents, including big new releases like Beauty and the Beast, Logan, and Get Out, each typically going for $4.99. Unfortunately, that deal will only extend to the first rental. Although Google has 3 of those 50% off codes, there's a bunch of stuff going on here. So save a little money over the weekend and use Google Play to score yourself a movie. How many of you remember jailbreaking an iPhone? Some of you probably never jailbroke one. I jailbroke a number of phones. And there's a great story on Motherboard about the life and death and legacy of the iPhone jailbreaking. They, found the people that did it. People are still doing it. People are doing it now for millions of dollars. 0-day exploits, as they call them. People that were in their teenage years when the iPhone originally came out that are now young adults that are working for security firms. It's a cool article. About a 10-minute read, maybe 15. Definitely check it out. I have the link up in the show notes for you, all right? Now, when you're working with media, do you know what format to use? Should you use PNG versus JPG? Should you use a doc versus PDF? Should you use an MP3? Should you use an M4A? If you don't know your file formats, there's a good precursor here that gives you some information about what the difference is between a PNG and a JPEG and different resolutions of media and so forth. I'll have the link up on the show notes for you to check that out. This is a good read. And remember, store all your masters in the highest resolution possible. A Mexican court has halted the sales of Roku in Mexico due to their device's hackability. I haven't heard too much about Roku hacking, but apparently it's a big deal down in Mexico, and people are able to steal videos. And the cable companies are not happy. Now, I don't know the exact case here. This could be slanted, but Roku plans to fight the ruling, and they say today's decision is not the final word in this complex legal matter. It's not expecting to prevent consumers from purchasing Roku products at this time. Roku products are still available for purchase through Mexico's Amazon website. We'll see if that ends. But Roku having a little bit of trouble south of the border here. We'll see where that leads. I almost didn't want to cover this today, and it's a little bit of a boring read, but it's pretty fascinating to see what's going on with Uber and the discovery in its lawsuit with Waymo. And there's a lot of finger pointing and a lot of people that know something they don't, and some potential criminal stuff that's coming down. The legalese in this is pretty thick, but if you can follow the back and forth, this thing is really, really ugly. And it's basically about the guy that left Google with 5 disks of data, 14,000 documents, who he said he never made it to Uber, but, there's all kinds of, a lot of things going on here. So link will be up in the show notes. For those of you that are interested in following this, definitely check it out. Also, Elon Musk boring machine completes the first section of an LA tunnel. And the boring company's officially started digging underneath Los Angeles. And how far has he got? He's completed the first segment tunnel in Southern California metropolis. Prior to today, it was unclear how long it would take Musk to convince the state to allow him to move the experiment forward. But how far has he went? He says that they have that the first tunnel would run from LAX to Culver City, Santa Monica, Westwood, and Sherman Oaks, with 3 later tunnels covering more of the greater LA area. So he says, looks like the LAX to Culver City route is underway. How deep are they digging? This is going to be interesting. It really, really is. So we'll see what happens here. Also, if you're thinking about upgrading to iOS 11, Apple has dropped 3 devices from last year's support list. It's the end of the road for the iPhone 5, 5C, and the 2012 plain iPad. So if you have an iPhone 7, iPhone SE, 6S, 6S Plus, 6 and 6 Plus, 5S, the 12.9-inch iPad Pro 2015 to 17, 10.5-inch iPad Pro 2017, 5th generation iPad 2017, 9.7-inch iPad Pro 2016, the iPad Air and Air 2 2013 to 15, the iPad Mini 2, 3, and 4 2013-15 will all go to iOS 11. It is, though, the iPhone 5, 5C that will not go to iOS 11, will not be allowed to upgrade. Just so you know, if you've got that phone, you're stuck right where you're at. NASA has uploaded a software build to Curiosity. Basically, it's an update that basically adds traction control to protect the rover's wheels. You know that the wheels have been getting banged up. They are climbing over rocks, and it doesn't know enough to kind of like back off and try a different way. It spins and spins till it climbs over the top, causing damage to the wheels. So they have basically did a traction control upgrade and adjust each wheel's speed to cut down on pressure from rocks and so forth. So awesome. Maybe make it last a little bit longer. All right, that's going to end the content for the show today. We ended up pretty quick here. I did have an email that came in that talked about where this individual was listening to the show. And believe me, if you send a picture, your image is safe with me. But I got an email from Norman. The picture's for you only. Please don't share. If you want extra brownie points with me, please delete this email. All right, Norman, I am deleting it. Wow. You really went to a lot of trouble. I'm familiar with some of that test gear, though. That's cool. Thank you for listening to me while you're in the lab. Awesome stuff. Norman didn't tell me where he's working. But yeah, I'm looking at your don't get in trouble. Don't send me anything that gets you fired, okay? But I can tell you're testing something. You got some good RF lines there and some other stuff. So anyway, I'm deleting I know you're cringing right now. The email is now deleted. It's gone. And I'll actually go into the trash and permanently delete it as well. So I'll do that while we're still talking here. So let me go grab. There it is. Delete permanently. All right. It's gone. All right. So anyway, thanks for sending me that. Don't send me something where you're going to get in trouble. And I would never share. I wouldn't put a picture online unless someone gives me absolute permission to do so. But anyway, that was cool. I worked on a bench like that before, once or twice. Remember, I'm an RF guy at heart. Okay. So anyway, everyone, thanks for being here tonight. I definitely appreciate it. Send me a picture of where you're at. If you're working in a silo or you're on top of a building or in your cube or wherever you may be listening. If you're at the gym, if you can take a snap without getting the gym people mad at you, please do that. I know many gyms are really sensitive to, wait to get outside the gym or something. I know places are sensitive about people snapping a pic while other people are working out. Although I was at the gym yesterday and I've gotten 4 workouts out in 7 days, and I'm 192, 191, 90, 189. It's I'm hovering. I'm not making progress beyond 189, and even though I did break below 190, and there was a gal and her boyfriend working out, and they're doing selfies together around everyone else, and it was just like it's kind of weird. I understand, she's happy taking, they're both working out but, she didn't really take into account anybody else in the gym. It really was kind of insensitive. I didn't say anything, but, there's a time and a place to take a picture with your cell phone, but people just don't have any couth anymore. They really, really don't. It is pretty incredible. So, okay, geeknews@gmail.com. Send me your pic. Let me know where you're at. The weirder, the better. It's always cool to see where people listen to the show. And thanks for being here. Thanks for being part of the Ohana. And I'll be back a week from today. There is no show on Monday, just because of the U.S. holiday. But I'll be on tomorrow or Saturday with the new media show with Rob Greenlee. Him and I are going to do a show Saturday. But beyond that, we'll see you in a week, and hope you miss me. But be careful over the 4th of July weekends. More people go to the hospital from fireworks than almost any other type of event. So please be careful with the fireworks out there, all right? And when those things burn, they really burn. Everyone take care. We'll see you next time here on the Geekness Central Podcast. Everyone take care. Aloha.